Hello, all. Good evening, and welcome to our Women's Day special event. Let's talk building an artisanal brand with Suta. I am Amrita Krishna from the land of coconuts. I've been here with 200M as a researcher, and I love having conversations about arts, craft, gender, and filter coffee. So we have our entire 200M family joining in with us today. Our founder and CEO, Priya Krishnamurthy, Head of Strategy and Operations, Prachi Vajpayee, Digital and Project Management Lead, Jayu Yao. Our researchers, Rashmi Salyan and Shailaja Sachin. Our volunteers, Lakshmi Shivaram, Naren Gani, Shruti Grover, and the others. So thank you so much for joining in, guys. So with about 200M, we call ourselves as Mavericks, seeking to reimagine the potential of the handcrafted. We support craft-led enterprises in becoming global powerhouses of inclusive and sustainable production. And so, how do we do this? We do so by facilitating access to information and data, community building, business support, and innovative finance through collaborative projects and platforms. And one such initiative is this Let's Talk series, which started in February, where we try to have conversations with creative producers, community builders, funders, etc., to propel our above mission. And today's event is the second installment in this series. So, it being the eve of International Women's Day, our conversation today will focus on the two amazing boss women of the brand Suta, sisters Sujata and Taniya. Design culturist Sneha Ulal will be having a candid talk with Su and Ta about their entrepreneurial journey, about building their brand, their challenges and solutions, and much more. So before I hand it to Sneha, I'll introduce her a bit. Sneha Ulal Goel is a former journalist turned educator and marketing communication specialist with 15 years of experience collaborating with design, craft, home decor, real estate, lifestyle. I mean, you name it, she's done it. She's curated and executed comprehensive communication and experiential campaigns for brands like Godrej Properties and Jaipur Rugs, and has been the strategic launch advisor for Design Deco, a Godrej initiative. Her most prolific journalistic stint was as executive editor of El Decor India, where she recognized the need to promote India's most deserving design talent on a larger platform. She continues to focus her work today on this objective, expanding beyond design to include fashion and handicrafts, and hoping to contribute in some solemn way in putting India on the world design. Community building and collaboration are key to everything she does. She thrives on the challenge of fresh storytelling, the rigor of sharpening a brand's identity, still perfected, may I add, the craft of collaborative strategies, and the art of fine tuning communications for the most effective outcome. We couldn't be more glad to have you here and lead this conversation, Sneha. Welcome on board and over to you. If there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to type them in your comment section and chat boxes, and we'll try getting to them as much as possible. So once again, wishing everybody a very happy Women's Day in advance. Happy Holi. Thank you so much for listening to me and looking forward to having our most beautiful conversation today. Over to you.
Thanks so much for that lovely introduction, Amrita. Welcome everyone to this, what hopes to be a very insightful conversation with two very enterprising women who I'm sure everyone is aware of their story and how they set up their business and their brand. Welcome, Sujata and Taniya. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for dedicating that time for us today. I think for those who might not be aware of your story, can you summarize for us how you, I mean, yes, there are many interviews and many stories written about you and how you left your corporate careers as engineers and, found, basically went back to your roots, went back, your love for handcrafts and handlooms. So can you just summarize for us what drove you to set up Suta? Hi, I'm just still like in listening to Amrita and listening to you. I'm just still like processing everything. So thank you for having us here. We are super excited to be talking to everyone who understands this ecosystem. So I'm Sujata and she's my sister Tanya, the co-founder of Suta. So both of us started Suta in 2016 and we both are engineers in MBA. We worked for 7 years and 4 years before we started Suta. And we started Suta with the main aim that we wanted to impact communities. We wanted to work with the grassroots level and remove middlemen as much as possible and be able to directly work with people so that the impact can be created rather than, the value getting passed on to somebody who's probably not adding as much. So that was a prime reason why we started. And also a love for sarees was always there. And in the corporates, when we used to wear sarees, we used to always get questions, very different questions as, okay, is it about special today? Or are you going to the temple, meeting someone for future, et cetera, which thing we shouldn't have come. And thought we should wear sarees even more so that we can negate these questions. And also, when we were kids, see our maternal and paternal aunts and mom and everyone wearing sarees so beautifully throughout the day, sleeping in it, waking up in it. We thought that it's such a beautiful attire. And the worn sarees, as you wear it more, it becomes so soft and breathable. That's something which we lacked. We didn't find anywhere. We wanted to make those. And these two reasons married, in having impact and getting back sarees, made us start Suta. Yeah, lovely. Was there a reason why? I mean, you of course started this out from your home, right? You didn't have a warehouse, to work with. You just basically just converted your home into a warehouse where you started taking orders, you started talking to people. Wanted to understand from you, what was that initial process like, and how did you navigate from there? From setting up, a business from home to gradually getting into e-commerce to now finally launching physical stores, right? So yeah, how did you navigate, with, of course, you just, and for everyone's knowledge here, you all came with practically no experience in this industry, right? So what were those initial challenges in navigation? So for us, design was very instinctive. Like we knew, understood design, we never studied it for sure. No, nothing, no formal education there. But though I'd applied and got through an idea, I didn't go there. Oh, really? We were very keen, and we used to take a lot of lessons of different creative stuff forms. Yeah. But when we say 2016, we used to work for the first 2 years before 2016. So 14 to 16, also 2 years we worked from home. 2016 is when we had a garage. So before that, so the first 2 years when we were in the corporate and doing this parallel, we just had one cupboard. We started from just one cupboard. We invested. So total for the first year in 2014, we invested on 3 lakhs each. It was total 6 lakhs is what went in starting Suta. And we just had this one cupboard from where we started, and then the cupboard overflowed and we went to another cupboard. And then the entire living room of in Bombay, it's like a bedroom, hall, kitchen. So in that one BHK, there was literally my husband would just come in and like jump over and find his like bed somehow and reach there. And so difficult. And 2016, we took a garage, like with a shutter, that garage. And that's when we moved there. Also in a very, non-accessible place. It's a market, it's a vegetable mandi. Yeah. And over there was a garage. And, we knew that it had to be e-commerce because we didn't want to invest so much and fail, and brick and mortar was no option for us. We paid our students loan and whatever savings we had, we knew this much is what we can invest, and hence a Facebook page. We didn't even think of a website back then. For 2 years, first 2 years, we didn't have a website. We just had a Facebook page. And in our family, nobody is from business. So nobody has done any sort of business. Our father is a railway officer, and there was nothing that we understood except for business because we both were MBAs. We understood business. So e-commerce was the very safe option because we felt with very little investment. For example, even if I don't spend on ads, I can still build an organic, audience. We just wanted to make sure the product was strong. We wanted to see if, what we are thinking in our heads that, oh, I love this. I am not finding it. Let's make it. Does it make sense to other people or not? And that's 2014 and 15 for us. Strengthening the product, making sure the supply chain is good. And we went wrong many times. Yeah, many times we went wrong. So we kept reaching out to a lot of people, but there were a lot of mistakes. I think the first 2 years, there's so enough mistakes, to be honest. So then we found our foothold. We realized what is our strength. So 2016 is when we realized. So do you mean mistakes in terms of reaching out to people or in terms of the creation of product? Everything. Product, understanding of product was not there. So when people would ask me about the fabric, I didn't have an answer. So I would say, can I touch it and see, So you're like, what is the composition? I'm like, I have no idea. Just can I touch? At least I may feel it on my skin. I have no idea what it is. So we knew what we wanted in terms of the feel and look. And the technical knowledge was zero. And learning that took time. And also people fooled us on the way because they knew we don't know anything. terms, right? So we were cool, like they would say, tell something and send something else. So we did. I think let's touch upon that a little more because I'm sure the initial challenge was also finding the right kind of weavers and the right kind of people who could help you realize this product, right? Because for the longest time, like I'm someone who loves saris too, but a lot of times I prefer inheriting the sari like from my parents or from my grandparents, just like you would have also, right? I mean, your inspiration came from your family, right? So for me also, I think twice when I shop for saris on e-commerce still. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you are able to convince people who you work with, whether it's your internal team and whether it's a communities, right? Even though you wanted to work with a certain kind of craft community, how did you convince them that, okay, this is the product that I want? It's not, the typical ones you get at the store, but how did you convince them of that? Like, what was the sell in terms of getting them on board to make your product? We heard so many no's. It literally felt like those, those times when in Bandra I'll ask for autos and autos will say, no, I'll not take you the auto rickshaws. It literally felt like that. So we went to Viva's house, one, two. So how it happened is we first used to buy things from wholesalers. So for the longest time, we didn't know who to reach out to, where to go and ask. So it Viva's will even talk to you. Yeah, we didn't know. And I don't know what's the formal way of reaching to Weaver. I don't know what's the formal way to reach out to a community. We didn't even have friend in NIFT. I have no friends from that fraternity. So I have no idea. So what happened for us is we told our father, he was posted in Howrah there. We told him, do you have any staff who is, from these villages where there are weavers? So he said, okay, fine, come take some days off and I'll take you over there. So we forgot about it. We told him. And then he's very diligent, our father. We learned it from him. He called us after a month or so. He said, I found everything. There are 2, 3 people. I'll take you there. Just take leaves and come. Both of us applied for leave. We went there and it was so disheartening. So we went to the village and we just go to everybody and they would say, madam, these are the saris, you can pick it. Or these are the products, fabrics, you pick it. And I'm like, no, we have an idea. And he's like, madam, but what's the guarantee that he'll buy from us? Like what, even if I make it, you tell me, a loom is not like a step. I can't make one sari and give it to you. We need at least 40 or 30 pieces to be made. What's the guarantee if I change my way of weaving or change my way of thinking and do your thing? What's the guarantee with maybe it's not work? Things that we were saying to asking them to make, they never made. They said there's no money in it. Only very elderly people or widows wear it. There's no market for it. There's no one who's talking about a first Malmal sari, which was like saris. There's nothing there on it. So he's like, madam, what will you do on it? So I'm like, I'll just tell it like this. He's like, then I said, don't starch it because we'll have to wash it to remove the starch. So there's no concept of de-starch. So we said we want unstarched sari. He's like, if I make unstarched saris, there'll be a lot of defects that will come out. It's difficult to hide the defects. So we will buy it, we said. And honestly, nobody was agreeing to it. We kept buying things from them thinking they maybe trust us, but it's not happening. But in the I think one of the last end of the next day, when we were leaving and we went to one hut when our husband and wife, they agreed. They said, we will agree to what we're saying. We'll eat with us. We will do whatever we say. And that was like, honestly, I tell you, there was another inhibition that we looked very young. And also we were not from this background. It looked like, the spoiled child trying for a project and they will not continue further. Right. And somewhere down the line, we made sure we said that our father is the owner. To make sure the authenticity is more. It was so, I think we tried different ways to just crack that first, relationship. Right. Since he was also with us and he also spoke on behalf of us and the family started liking us. And hence he started making a product. I'm not sure if the father was not there with us that day, would anybody let us start what we started. It was difficult. It was maybe another 2, 3 days would have roamed and we could have found another person to agree to, believe in the vision that we had. And we wanted them to buy it. Like the buy the vision. We didn't want to just say that, oh, I'm throwing money and just make it. We didn't want that sort of relationship. We never had that with anyone. We wanted them to believe in the idea to even give inputs if they had any. So that's how, all our designs are. If they say that, okay, put silver instead of the gold sari, we listen. Yeah. We listen. Our designers listen. So that's how we started. So you're out of with those two weavers and now you have a network of 16,000. Is that right? 16,000. So how easy or challenging is the process now of networking or even connecting with these artists? Like how? I think weavers is super easy. Sorry?
getting weavers is super easy now. It's being very touchwood. It's being very easy. Getting that really master weavers, great weavers, group communities. Difficult is sustaining, making sure that they get 365 days of work. That's one of the reasons we say you're an artisan focused brand. Even if our collection is not a hit, let's say I launch a Jamdani collection and Jamdani is this collection didn't do well. We have to make sure that immediately we have to launch the Jamdani collection because then these guys will not have their work. So
Got it. Yeah.
that's how we work. And hence, I feel getting weavers is now not difficult because now we have a name. Our pay structure is very beautiful. No, it's very transparent how we work. So that has been not a challenge at all now. I'll tell you what happened. That after COVID, it's more easy and accessible because they
After
started
COVID.
getting after COVID because they started getting on to the social media platforms or even their kids or whoever neighbor started mailing even emails phone calls. They started connecting better. Earlier, before that, we used to always travel. Our teams used to travel and make sure we talk to them, explain them the design and understand, sit through the first sample, etc. We used to do. Now we don't but now it has become so much easier. And I think that for many brands, it's the same story.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. Everything happens on phone, literally on phone. There's no traveling, no meeting. We onboard new weavers on phone calls. It's that easy and that beautiful. Technology has helped us.
Yeah, I think Mamta in the chat was asking, like, were you once asked by a weaver if they could stay and you could dine with them? She asked that question. But I think that's part of the relationship building also, right? With the weaver communities. Like, yes, you are kind of asking them to weave for you, but how do you work towards building relationships where, you're not just asking them to, okay, please make this for us, but also, there is a level of trust, there is a level of understanding. And there is a level of also respect for the craft, right? So how do you ensure, like I was reading also about how you were able to support your people community also during the pandemic, right? So how do you ensure that, they're not discouraged or they're not, in any way demotivated by work, if that's a challenge?
Oh, so I think the most important thing me and Sujata keep telling our entire team that they don't need us. It is just that, we have to respect their lifestyle. They do not need what I need.
Yeah.
Maybe I fancy a big house with a swimming pool, maybe. That's not their lifestyle. So we should not think that they're poor.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. This recent one of the posts somebody mentioned, I posted a house which is one of the best houses in the village. Okay. And the lady is super proud of her house and the loom, the hand pit loom is inside the house. The kitchen is right next to the pit loom. And she's weaving. And then I've shown the house and there is the gas stove and the things are kept neatly and it's a house which is made of mud and there's a cover on it and everything. It's neat and beautiful. And I put and then somebody commented saying, oh, they live like this. And I'm like, what do you mean by this? It's in your head. So it's like these people love the way they live. Okay. They have no boundary walls. Kids are eating in this house. Their kids are going to other houses and eating. It's beautiful, the system. And honestly, when we're writing the story about what we saw and felt, we're going to spend 2-3 days with them next time we are going there. They have an open heart. They sit in the army. They have such beautiful relationships amongst people. They leave their houses open and nothing happens. Nobody steals. So you can't find that ecosystem here at all. And hence I keep saying that it's literally that we have the market access, of course, that we are letting this product reach the customers. We know this part. But that doesn't ever undermine the work that happened. It's not that they literally need us. We have to understand we need them more. Whether they come from a huge legacy of the craft, they understand what they do. And it is something that is so beautiful and so difficult to learn. So the respect, if it we know this feeling and we know this thing and the designers understand that, it automatically translates into the work we are telling them. So we are never telling them to change or, modify something that they do. Their craft is preserved. We just change probably design intervention saying the product can be lighter or, can be a little lesser cost. We can introduce things, but we never ever not changing the way they are working. So that's one thing I always remember. We constantly speak to the entire team and say that, there's a lot to learn from them, the kind of lifestyle they live. They finish eating at 6 p.m. They are super healthy compared to our lifestyle. And they walk a lot. Their health is really amazing. They live a longer life and a better life. So these things that we learn and understand, then automatically the communication changes. And hence we are very vocal about how they live. And we also send our teams to stay with them and interact with them often to understand them. Also, we work a lot towards developing like making sure the infrastructure is a little better, where most of our weavers work, not in this place, not everywhere we have started doing that. We started donating to schools, if anything necessary, for example, putting the fans, fixing the ground where they play. After rains, it becomes muddy and bad. It's the small things we do, which they appreciate a lot. And it's a very beautiful relationship that we have formed together.
Great. You mentioned that you are an artisanal focused brand, which is a very interesting positioning for a brand like yours. Was just wondering, what does that word mean to you as a business, and how has that word helped you create a niche for yourself, especially for your target audience that majorly buys online from you still?
So I would say from the entire community of people that we have on our page, people who buy from us, they understand what we try to say, because sometimes they ask for something from us and then we don't do it. Because I say that just because it's a hit or just because it's a trend, we're not going to do it, because we know our weavers now need this work and we have to do that. So there's been time that, we have lost the trend game, or we've fallen back under, that race. But we literally don't race for just satisfying a customer. I see customers understand if you tell them why you're doing what you're doing. And we keep telling them that, it literally depends on the looms that are empty. And there is one more story. I think it's an interesting thing to bring out now, that some of our saris, like the one which are plain saris, okay, we don't write whether it's handloom and powerloom. And so many people have asked us, why don't you write it? And the reason we don't write it is because we have a pool of lot of weavers. There are people who are skilled in powerloom, there are people who are skilled in handloom. And when these fellows don't have work, we transfer the work literally like that. Like you do. And hence the sari I won't even write, because and we price it the same. We don't even write this with the, just because it's, it was our management problem, right? We couldn't make sure that this community doesn't have work. So we make sure that the work is always there for all the weavers that are there in Suta, by transferring work like that. Not all sarees can be transferred, of course, especially the plain ones can be easily transferred between the two loops now.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you made, because there is a lot of discussion about the difference between what a power loom can make and what a hand loom can make. Is that something that your customers ask you, or your collaborators ask you a lot? And how do you address that, as a brand, And also there's a lot of authenticity also around what a power loom can make and the quality of the hand loom. And that the fact that the power loom, for instance, is threatening the work of, weavers who have basically learned certain techniques and skills on the hand. How do you address that as a brand, if at all? And do you get these questions at all from customers?
Yeah, we get it off. When we are smaller, we got it more, because people didn't know why we do what we do. And we started speaking about it more. Most of the questions come from different place. It was not to understand the brand, but just to point fingers sometimes. Many people didn't know that, what they exactly said. What is the, purpose of a power loom, and what is the purpose of a hand loom? Maybe just to clarify, I'll just tell you what happens is, so so authenticity comes in when you just mislead people by saying this is hand loom, whereas it is made in power loom. That's when the authenticity problem happens. For example, the jacquard loom. So jacquard loom can be hand loom. They could be power loom jacquards also, right? So just because it's a jacquard doesn't take away the fact that there is effort goes into it, and it's never that it's said it's completely hand, right? But then there is this, when you say something and you do something else, is when I think the authenticity should be questioned. But honestly, the work, the skill set that is required to run both these machines are completely different. The handloom and powerloom is very different. And the handloom is not the huge machines, right? It's just automated. It's not that machine, not the powerloom. Sorry, powerloom. Because the power looms are also monitored by one person for one. It just makes the work faster. To make it's motorized. The thing is motorized, and it's faster. You produce a little more number of saris. But at the same time, there are saris which cannot be made in handloom. There are some saris that cannot be made in power loom. It's not possible to interchange. So then you can't just do it. It's not even physically possible. The thread will snap in case of power loom. If it's a very fine thread, you have to weave it in handloom. And there are some work that cannot never be done in power loom, which can be done in handloom. And hence, I feel when you say, I feel there are bigger battles to fight. For example, like probably fighting against polyester or fighting against larger machine. Like there is mad consumerism when people are just buying and throwing things. There are different things to fight about, but there are literally weaver bases who, with power loom, have no work, struggling, have both the handloom and power loom. Nobody is giving them work. So there is this huge base of people, livelihoods who are attached to both this, and then still there's no work, even if there's a lot of talk about handloom or powerloom. It isn't the norm per se. So I feel our customers really understand, a lot of people, basically the return customers, I would say, at Suta, they know the material, they know what is made where. Most of them, I would say, are not interested. They don't know. Yeah, they don't know. And I feel a lot of talk doesn't happen about the fabric. Sometimes people confuse the fabric with the loom. For example, you can weave a polyester sari completely in the handloom. But whether you call it sustainable, I'm not, there's a lot literally. The discussion can be like sustainability is discussion with just like so
We can have a
difficult.
separate discussion on this for sure. But I'm sure, like, how do you as a brand, this is something that Shobita, one of our participants here today, has asked us as well, right? I'm sure there is a process that you might follow, right, to ensure quality, right? How do you address that? Of course, with the product that you make, but also through your communication. Because one thing I observe is that your communication has been consistent, right? Whether it's on the website, on your social media, you ensure that the language that you're using, it uses those certain keywords, right? So to ensure, what is the process in terms of quality check, and how do you ensure that your customers get it, right? The focus needs to be on the right thing and not all the other frills that don't necessarily, matter to you. Like, how do you address that?
As a quality is something we completely like, we will accept anything and everything, but not a failure in quality. Something we are very strict about from the beginning. I mean, day one, that was the one thing we kept telling when we set up our first factory in the village, when everybody would submit their work, and as soon as the quality check happens, they get the money. So, that, and also when we don't have a reject, I'm not sure whether I've spoken about it, but in a lot of forums, we've spoken about that we don't reject sarees, we don't give it away because it's our design. We deduct the money portion so that they understand we'll not tolerate that, that lack of quality, but we do take everything with ourselves. So we have a paid and they get paid. So it's not like lying somewhere and it's just getting wasted somewhere. So we really do that with quality and communicating the right things to customer. It's been our focus. Yeah, and you would have seen the Suta garage section on our page. So where we put those defective products, slightly different products with the threads come off, and and we make sure we thought really hard. Upcycling every time is not possible because of that lot of, since it's a handmade one, there are a lot of defects here and there that keeps coming. In a block print, the paint has fallen somewhere else, things like that. But a lot of people, when physically see it, they don't mind it. Then stores, we have a section where it's discounted, and also in the dark section, we have put a mark and where exactly it's falling after draping, so that you understand it's not really visible and it won't cost. Garage is not really easy for all the brands to accept and do because it is time consuming. It's money at the end of the day. So it's, if you are hardest towards sustainability, if in future you can plan that having a garage section where people really don't mind spending a little less money, but having a little small defect, especially if it's a handmade product.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the right time for us to address this also, because a lot of our participants, are either from startup businesses, or are starting really small, but have an ambition, have a dream, to set up a business that equates with yours. The problem of scale, for that matter, the ambition of scale, right? Was this something that you calculated from the beginning? How do you address basically going from, say, e-commerce to physical retail? How do you address like increasing your product ranges? Like, I'm sure there must have been some process, some kind of decision making, some kind of visioning that went into it. So can you tell us about how you addressed the ambition of scale throughout the couple of years that you've been running this business?
So initially when we started, we thought we'll stay very small because I thought nobody will wear a sari. Because we thought maybe there are like a couple of people like us who will just respect the fact that, saris should not leave our world, it should just stay. So we thought it was very minuscule, maybe probably like our age group. Now we are thinking that 30s. So I never thought Gen Zs will like laugh onto the idea of saris. So we never thought about it. So that was out of their lot. Yeah, we tried, and then people understood, people lost the free flowing garment ban. And hence we started making those blouses so that, we can complement the sari with funky and experimental blouses as well. But honestly, scale was not in on our heads for sure initially. But I'll tell you when it hit us that we need to scale is COVID. COVID is when we kept getting calls from weavers saying, Didi, if you don't buy it today, tomorrow I'm not eating. I don't have food. I have no money left. I have nothing if you do not buy this. And hence we kept buying that stock. Literally not our designs. We didn't know who designed them. We kept buying. And that was literally an eye opener. We were both going through a lot of turmoil in ourselves because we had to run the company. It was crazy time for all of us. We know it. But that thing that we did, that we kept buying, just made us feel so powerful because we were buying and we could actually provide livelihood to so many people. And that realization that, oh my God, if we don't scale, then who will? That moment, that I think 2020 was the year when we both decided that we have to grow big.
Yeah.
If not us, then I'm not sure anybody could.
Because the product was right. The supply, demand, everything was right. So if we didn't grow and, because we wanted to impact more and more lives, we just, we didn't think that the growth can come to us easily. And, accepting the fact that you can't stay the way you are forever and growth is inevitable, otherwise you'll vanish.
Why? Tanya, if you're not growing, maybe you're selfish. That we have started liking our comfort zone. And if we don't grow, then we are selfish. And you literally said that businesses are there to support life, like any business, because you are providing livelihood to whoever is working with you and providing you with the product. And honestly, growth is mainly where we knew that the product was absolutely perfect, quality wise, what we exactly wanted. If we perfected the product, then we go after everything else, every other department. And then also supply chain. That's something we made sure we start with. Hence, we didn't put money in performance marketing at all in the initial few years because we wanted that to be very stable. We managed that if we spend money and we cannot lose space by not supplying, like not shipping. There was one time, I think, post-COVID, when the markets opened up, August, September, when the lockdown festivals, when it happened, we had like a lag of 2,000 orders. That was the only mishap that happened ever in Suta's history, that we could not literally fulfill the demand. And that's the thing. That year was a year of realization for us that customers will be supporting you. They will always say we are there to back you up, but you have to build a strong system so that you don't fail. And hence scale is difficult. Scaling mainly means making your teams ready. Our team, if you are scaling from 100 to 200 orders, for example, if you're targeting it, just divide your resources and understand which resource will be doing what. Your returns have to be stronger and your customer support has to be stronger. And hence just build the teams to make sure that you are going to fulfill 200 orders in a... And hence, scaling slowly is important. What Tanya said, that every department will need, right? And if you just go from 100 to 200 in one fine day, you will just collapse. And that happened with us. We literally had a collapse moment that time. But when you grow like 100 to 110, 120, 130 slow and you keep calculating, I think when you're scaling, your eyes should be literally open and thinking, oh my, this team is failing, that team is failing. Keep hiring the right people and adding on. I think that's what is important when you think of scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can imagine your relationship with your team must be like watertight, right? You have to kind of practice trust, practice transparency. Also practice the fact that you need to work in a collaborative environment, right? In order to achieve a scale of this level. And the way that you've been able to achieve this since you started in 2015, 2016, I guess that is also instrumental, right? Hiring the right people and also ensuring that they're on the same page or at least understand what the common is.
Yeah. I think bombarding the vision that the company has, everybody to understand that, okay, I'm an artisanal brand. I am just not doing it for money. Money is, of course, there because we are not a non-profit, but not for profit, but we are here for profit. But at the same time, who's the right focus, who's the right stakeholder in our head should be very clear. And sometimes people might forget because unless you have meetings in different levels. And so, for example, we have a strategy level, which is like a 30-member team, where we talk to all the department heads and we make sure we keep communicating. Every problem is addressed in a way that everybody's listening. So all 30 of us, the marketing head would know what social media head has done, like a goof up, or if the inventory has gone for a toss. Everyone will get to know. So it's like literally like an open session that we conduct. And we keep telling that if, for example, we are discussing inventory too much today and we have said that this has gone wrong, but that doesn't mean that you're getting scolded. We're going to collect ourselves together. And of course, we have, and me and Sujata keep saying that we also have missed it. It's just not on you. And hence, all the problems are discussed openly and nobody feels bad about it. And then we have one town hall a month, which is the entire company, 200 people are together. And we discuss the most important things that has happened the past 1 month. And again, we talk about that, about levers, and we keep bringing it back. And hence, tying that thread, to just make sure that people understand
why we are what we are, where we have reached. It's, I think, very important. Yeah. Speaking of stakeholders, we've addressed your team, we've addressed your weavers, but the most important one also is your customers. It's interesting to see how this relationship between you and your customers has blossomed purely because you inorganically or just by chance, you just happen to be face of the brand. I'm sure that was kind of like a aha moment for you to have instead of having models or instead of having faceless people or for that matter mannequins, promote your products, you end up having both of you are essentially the face of the brand. Can you tell us about how that helped you connect better with an audience, especially a very tricky audience, which consists of younger millennials and Gen Z? We started using our faces because we were so frugal. And I knew photography. And we reached out to people. They charged, whatever agency we reached out to, they charged a lot. And we didn't have the depth of product. So we had maybe 2 or 3 pieces per product, per SKU. So that was scary. We could not divide the concept. It became too expensive. And we didn't want to be a brand which is selling pricey things. And to understand the product, we wanted more and more people to buy it. And since it was organic, we didn't want it to just fail. So since she was the model. Obviously, my face was not shown. Okay, I was just like, it was just like you crop my head. Understanding. At one point, we I said, it's not going to looking so good. Why are we cropping your hair? And then she said, no, don't do it. She was not agree. I said, let's do it. Let's try. She put like, and then later she said that, okay, fine, I'll start putting kajal and lipstick. And the few that day we started putting and this not putting back. And we sort of changing the model once or twice is done that. And there's always customers coming back and saying, oh my God, don't do that. We are so used to saying you guys. And also the thing that we don't try to, the photos don't look like we're trying to sell that saree, because it's not like perfectly ironed. It's not like the best of setup. I'm doing it in the house most of the days. So it's this since there's less effort there, it's like little effortless. And we would look like somebody who, all of us look like this in the regular lives. So that maybe people connected with it. And honestly, the customer base also, yeah, it's kind of people who are like us. It's not very achievable. Yeah. The kind of drapes we did, it looked like, oh, anyone can do it. It was not pinned or neatly pleated. Hence, it looked very normal and all of us can be that. And also, people connected with us better because they knew the face and our building authenticity more. We got scolded a little less. Yeah, I felt this when we go just on social media and say, oh, so we're so in the 2,000 orders were pending. When we went online, we said that we're very sorry. And of course, and we're talking about I realized I was pregnant, that I was really pregnant at that point in time. I said, not every, so the offices are not allowed to be open. There are only 2 people packing. And how much were they pushing, they can't back more and, communicated and people trusted us. They didn't think that they were going to run away with the orders. They didn't cancel the orders. So I think that part had built a lot of authenticity. Just they somehow know us. So for example, if I meet someone in the airports or, wherever walking on the street, so people just come to us and start saying, hey, they would never say I'm a Suta customer. They'll always say I'm part of the Suta Queens community. It will be interesting. So it's never like a customer base for us. It's always been a community for us. And since we're so proud of the product, we wanted to say that, oh, I have made it. You can meet me. I have made this product. And if I love the product, I would just want to sit and watch you wearing that and walking. And in initial days, also deliver it home by ourselves. Yeah, is to go to everyone's houses and deliver it to see if they like the product or not. That's really amazing. That's a good research, good way of collecting qualitative research for sure. It indeed was. It does, yeah. It gave us a lot of feedback and we understood our customers better, the kind of profile, the kind of people who ordered it. Yeah, even now when we have a team of, let's say, 8-member team who's answering phone calls and emails, there is a 4 members your team. Still, Google messages, the Google instant messages that happen, I answer. Even till date, I answer them because there's one touch point for me where I know it's, like any kind of complaint, anything. I'll at least see one area is mine. Even like Twitter's, like most of the time I am answering. So I've kept that. Yeah, still with that. Right. What has changed in the way you promote your business over the last few years? I know that, yes, you use Instagram a lot and you do work with the Suta queens, the community. That is also something that is, so enduring to see. But what is that one strategy or that one thing that has worked really well for you? It could be something that you've implemented new just recently or something that, has been consistent, without you having to think twice. What is that one strategy in terms of promoting your business? I don't say it was strategy, but when we saw that the online marketing, the performance marketing is suffering, the entire industry is suffering. The cost of acquisition is going really high. I think all of our founders will know that. Yeah, I know we were struggling so much. We lot of entrepreneurs we knew in our circle, and everyone was struggling. And we thought that this can't be it. We can't be so dependent on just one medium. And hence we thought, let's start meeting our Suta queens again. Because we had stopped somewhere meeting them, and hence we started traveling to different cities. Suta and the Bazaar is the name, and started meeting them. And that has been one of the strategies that I think that has worked for us. Yeah, it gives us so much insight. Our product lines changed completely, like the way we used to perceive. We launched a lot of new products because we thought something and we saw something else. And the like simple things like length of the blouse, or whether the like sleeveless or sleeves, deep necks or not. Simple things we could get it just from the horse's mouth, right? When we are traveling and talking to so many people. So that was very good. And I was going to say something else is I think communication is something that we need to constantly think about. I think somewhere down the line, I think last year or something, which me and Tanya felt our communication was not as crisp. So this year, our communication is really more bang on, thinking that, okay, when I'm talking to this audience, this is my audience, my talk should be in a certain way. When I'm talking to a different, like in my own town hall, my talk and communication should be in a different way. I think pre-planning before you talk is so important. Messaging, the crisp communication. I think Smrita mentioned that you would do that, Sneha, and I was like, oh my God, it's something that's so important. That's very powerful. Communicating right is super important. In my life, I might be thinking that you know it. Yeah. I would be saying something, but maybe I'm forgetting that it's only just me that I know it. And you will not know that we sell petticoats, maybe. Because I haven't said it constantly. Yeah. 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 So basically, it's kind of ensuring that people are aware of what you do, or at least, know that they are doing this on a regular basis. Absolutely. I think I know that I'm also being a little mindful of time, and I want to take as many audience questions as possible. People, if you have any more questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. I'll try to address them as much as I can. Yeah, just lastly, just on a personal note as well, what has it been like working as a family? To our sisters, know each other really well. Are there any disadvantages at all? Maybe you know the advantages. You know each other really well. Is a disadvantage also the fact that you know each other all too well? Or what are other advantages or disadvantages in working with a family? The advantages are many. I think almost said it. Because both of us have kids now. So I have a son, she has a son. And it's so easy because, we understand each other so well that, we manage the whole and office at the same time. And in a very smooth way, I feel it's just that unsaid, she knows what I'm going through, I know what she's going through, and managing everything around. I just communicate so much. Yeah, because we know the personal side of it. Professionally, it becomes much easier. And since we are each other's best friends as well, because since childhood, since dad was being transferred every now and then, and we were the outside circumstances changed so much. So we wanted better. And I think that helped us to make decisions faster, to solve problems quickly. But the disadvantage is one thing, I think there's no boundary. We bring back work everywhere. And I think it's disadvantages for everybody around us. Yeah. Because not we are like this together at work and at home. So I think I'm sure my mom hates us when we and like no boundary at all. Like we are so before Suta, we would not talk work so much at home. Yeah, we did. But now we just don't realize where we are, and amongst relatives, both of us are like discussing numbers and stuff, and we don't realize sometimes where we are. That could be like a disadvantage. And holidays also not like a holiday for them. That's what we take work everywhere. Yeah, we shoot, because it's just so well integrated for us. Yeah, but that's what it is, right? I think that's something that the others around you, the people who love you, have to accept that this is going to be your life. This is not just your business. This is what you do. It's your passion. But it's too much. I'm sure you get it. Like it's too much. Sometimes I feel it's a trouble for them. I think you'll have to figure out a way to just calm down. And also for the fact that we live together. Oh yeah, we live together. So there's no divide with each other day in and out, and that's okay. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. We have quite a few interesting questions coming in. So I'm just going to scroll through some of them. So we have Zayu ask a very interesting question. Are there any unique challenges that you feel that women founders face and miss out on when building a? What do you say certain challenges that women founders face? Yeah. Yeah, I feel the one simple thing that came to my mind recently when I'd gone for an award ceremony is that yeah, the networking that
probably similar gender would do. It's very difficult when it comes to like a man and women with the networking bit. Because they're literally like this, of course, there's the different sex and you barging in like in conversation of full of men because there are more male entrepreneurs than female. And inclusivity doesn't come very naturally. It doesn't. So they would not say that, oh, please, would you want to join us? You know? So there is a line between like being rude and being like over friendly, or that is, I think networking is where I feel with I think we miss out on. But obviously, it has become much better. We have started networking with a lot of people, but this itself see the divide. There is. Another one would be the Weaver base. I said that some Weavers still think our father is the owner and not us. They think we are the girls who are running this, like just behind the scenes. And yeah, it's sometimes happens. I think that, like, when young people are doing a business, facing some problems. For example, the landlord in a couple of places said that, okay, that you'll get the returns for GST benefits. Please call your manager. मैं उससे बात करता हूँ. I said, no, I understand. But let him close the deal. But he would want to speak to a man for the numbers. So minor things that which will come out, but then slowly you can wipe it out also. You should not, it is that initial irritating feeling that, oh my God, not getting it left. That is there. But I think people understanding, things will change it. Things will change. But I'm sure if it happens in Mumbai, this would be also would be more facing this, and it would be tougher.
Yeah, I mean, if any one of you participants who joined it today, if you've ever faced something similar, please feel free to share it in the chat. We can have maybe a small discussion on how to deal with those kind of challenges. I honestly feel that the best way to do it is just kind of reinforce why you're here, and that you kind of just take that into a memory, and hopefully that memory stays with them. Say, you know what?
True. One at a time we change it. And also I feel that react to it very strongly at that point in time. Yeah. Because then it becomes unproductive, because I am here to just make sure that my work is done. And that hurt that you get when these conversations happen, that should not mislead your discussion. You should make sure that the person understands politely and calm down, go back home, and then you just scream a little bit. That's okay.
Also, Kristen, right there, and I couldn't agree more. I think the reactive approach very rarely works. I think we can leave that to the Bollywood films for our entertainment and our sense of release in a way. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Just play it out and use your words, practical knowledge. Speaking of which, our participants today have asked us questions about connecting the people. So Kavya asks, are your weavers currently on payroll? Can you explain very simply, is there a money model of the business from inception to how it is right now? Maybe
So-
explain how that works in your business. Yeah.
See, these weavers communities are very unorganized. So also the way weavers work, and I said the lifestyle is beautiful. I say that also because they get up in the morning, before brushing, they'll sit in the loom, start working. They go for breakfast, come back and again work on the loom. Then they might even sleep in the afternoon and not work at all. That's cool. So that's how they work. So if being on payroll wouldn't work. They themselves would not want to have like a 8 hours or 9 hour work. Maybe they would work 12 hours, but their own terms. Yeah, they also do farming. So yeah, couple of like, a lot of them are also farming and also weaving. It's a multiple hands they wear. So what happens is that hence we have a piece-based payment. Once we do the quality check and we do the payment. So it depends on the quality check team wherever it's available. So if you have the QC team, so as soon as the quality happens, you transfer the money. And hence the payment is so fast that they are super happy. And hence I'm saying our model, I would say it's a success story for us. We have seen every village we go to, every different states we've gone to. This is the best model to work with. The moment the work is submitted, if you can promise a payout within certain time, stipulated time, that's the best. Payroll we have, I don't think they never work for us. We never thought of setting up a space where we put the loans and they come and work. We had a lot of discussion that we failed miserably. We took the space up, we set up loans, started setting it up, we failed miserably.
Right. Right.
Thanks for sharing that. Nobody agrees there. It's like, sorry, you lost us, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, go
I
ahead.
said, we said we failed miserably when we set up a space and loans, because nobody was willing to come out of the houses and work within like for an hour, for like 8 hours or 6 hours. So with the women, it was easier to even see the kids, see the household, and also
That's true. Yeah. And that's especially true across most craft communities, that they would rather prefer working, within the comfort of their home, where they are able to take care of their farm or of their other needs, or, other dependencies, dependence, they're able to address that too. So yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing that. I think that's an important kind of call that you must have taken, right? To ensure that they are working within their comfort zone. And they also kind of address, your demands as well. Another question from Zayu, she asks, do you ever think of, was there ever a need for you to get an investor for Suta?
We wanted to stay bootstrapped in the initial few years. We were very sure that we'll never reach out because we have seen a lot of businesses, a lot of startups whose vision changed drastically when they got a funding. And, having the right partners is so essential. It's they're buying your ideas, they're, towards driving the company towards a vision. So yeah, we are both strapped. We are thinking of, because we are looking at growth, we are looking at physical stores, and it is very capital intensive. So we are looking at partners, but right partners, honestly, we would not jump into it. We don't want to lose our business model just to grow. So that's one more thing we want to be very sure about. They have to understand the artisanal focus. Yeah. It's not that because whoever puts in money, it's that they would want some X revenue and they will exit and they'll get a second round of investment comes in. We are not a brand was looking at that faster growth even.
Right, right. I think just lastly, last round of questions. I know that we can continue because this is getting very interesting right now, but yeah, we will unfortunately have to truncate this. How do you envision the future of your business? Right now, you have, is that 3 stores? You have 3 physical stores?
We have two more coming up within a month. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, can you tell us where these physical stores are currently located?
So,
I'm, yeah,
in Maharashtra, there is two. There's in Santa Cruz and one in Thane.
yeah.
There's one in Bangalore, which is a flagship store. And there's the two that are coming up. One is in Hyderabad and one is in Kolkata.
So nice. So, what are you imagining the future of your business right now? Like, how do you imagine? Since the overarching conversation has been about scale, what is the plan of scale?
We're thinking that we should reach the audience from different sides, physical stores, because people, once they try the blouses, they fall in love with it. But there's people are skeptical to pick things online, even if the return policy is just strong. So if it's seen, people loved coming and physically shopping. And hence the physical stores is one of the strategies. But otherwise, growth wise, we are going improving our tech stack. So basically, we are getting ERP systems, we are getting more brilliant apps. So I think also entrepreneurs, there are such brilliant technology that can solve so many problems that we don't realize. There could be apps that could just do like 4 people's job and you're struggling. So we're getting the tech right. So we are focusing, investing there, a lot of time there. We're getting our communication on SEO right, our search engine optimization. Those are something that we are like, really strongly focusing on this year. I think will be that. And also expanding into newer categories like menswear and dresses and kurtas is what we are looking at in terms of growth.
Lovely. Any last advice? Because a lot of our participants and even people who have joined us via Instagram and Facebook, a lot of them are into, in the handmade sector, in the handmade industry. So any advice that you would give both startup entrepreneurs and of course, if the occasion is Women's Day, what advice would you give both startup entrepreneurs as well as female entrepreneurs?
For startup entrepreneurs, I would say let go of your apprehension. That the thing that I will do this job the best. That is one thing that you have to let go. They will be get experts, get people who are better than you in certain departments. Keep the best thing with you, like things which you are best in. Keep that with you. But other things, start delegating. I think we forget delegating, and hence we get stuck in one growth. We start plateauing, and because we just keep thinking, I'll do everything. I'm the best. I write the best. I design the best and then nothing happens, you just get stuck. So I feel just let go and hire people. People is what will make your growth the best, the strongest. Another thing is that since you're an entrepreneur and you will dive into this deep sea, you have to build a support system well. Especially for women, I would say that. Because women carry a lot of guilt. Guilt is too much. It's unsaid. Nobody's giving you, even if nobody's giving you, you will take it. That's how most of the women are wired. I'm not saying everyone, but creating that support system from the start, saying that okay, I can only do what this many hours and rest has to be taken care. So I think that is extremely important when you're starting off. For us, it was very important, and we could even if our kids are a year old or less than that, we were traveling 4-5 days constantly. So that worked for us. Yeah, I think these couple of advices. One team is team and having a support at home. You get best nannies or get the best help or tell somebody to take care of your parents or anybody or partners. Seen a couple of entrepreneurs even take the responsibility of cooking 3 times. And
It's exhausting and you'll burn out one day. Yeah. If you love it, it's good, but then if you're not, then might as well like delegate, let go. That's really good advice. Thank you so much, Sujata and Tanya. And yeah, on that note, I know that I wish we could have continued this conversation a little longer. But yes, we're hoping that there'll be more opportunities in the future to talk about this. All the best with your physical stores. All the best with the e-commerce, with that business as well. We can't wait to see what you do next and how you grow this business. Thanks to all of you who have joined us, who have spent your whole week evening with us. If you want to, or if you message us saying that you'd like to get in touch with which we will be happy to maybe share a Gmail address perhaps where you can
Or
reach us.
Instagram. Or
Or
Instagram.
yeah,
Not the business page. Not the business page. Sujata and Taniya.
yes, please.
I'll
So
write an
it's
ID.
easy on Instagram. They're hugely engaging, hugely popular. You can reach out to them directly on Instagram, or you can also connect with 200 million artisans if you have more questions about today's talk, or if you want any other support related to today's talk, please feel free to reach out to us. But on that note, thank you so much for everyone joining, and we'll be keeping you informed of similar conversations like these with inspiring entrepreneurs.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
All
All
the
the
best.
best. Yeah, you were really fabulous and thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Snehal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sujata and Tanya. Really wonderful session today. And yeah, we'll hope to see you again very soon.
Okay, sure. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Priya.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Priya.
you. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your time.